if we look at what aspect or Hizmet present Islam to the world, Hizmet present an Islam that is moderate, an Islam that is faithful to the tradition, but also open to, I would say, modernity in the sense of development, evolution of the society. Again, open to interfaith dialogue. By living real needed. Similar actions that have come about from need. I am Dr. Girard. I am a physician working in Toronto, Canada. I've got to know the Hizmet movement because I am a member also of the Focolare Movement, which is an international multi-faith movement of Catholic inspiration. And we also work a lot for interfaith dialogue. So this is what has made us meet with Hizmet. From what I know of Hizmet, I think that this is a movement that contributes a lot to creating a relationship between different cultures and different nations, different religions. And we need this so much nowadays in a world that has so many divisions and wars. We need to create links between every individuals and groups so that if we know each other, be more able to build peace in the world. And I think that the Hizmet movement is working a lot for this goal. I know of him. I think that Mr. Gulen is a wise man. He is known as an imam, a respected scholar. As far as I know of his life, he does dedicate a lot of his time to prayer and a lot of his life to God. And to me, someone with that knowledge who does spend a lot of time to increase a relationship with God, God gives to this person wisdom. So that's what I think he has probably achieved with many years of practice. In fact, I was very surprised, and also my friends of the Focolare, we were very surprised when we first met Hizmet to find how many connections we have, how many similarities. And if I try to talk about some, maybe the most important one, significant one, is that we both work for interfaith dialogue in somewhat similar ways. Our dialogue, we call it a dialogue of life. We don't preach to people, we try to love people and be at their service. And when I've been with Hizmet, in Hizmet activities, that's what I found too, that the Hizmet member love the people around them. And love conquers, love builds better bridges. So that's a similarity that I have found. Hizmet has different activities like charitable activities all over the world. Focolare has similar actions too that have come about from needs that were identified by a community of Focolare somewhere in the world. So it was not something planned from a country far away to go and help these people to do something that maybe they don't need, but it's something that an help that is given by living with the people and seeing what is their real need. And I think that Hizmet also brings a lot of help. I visited Hizmet centers in Turkey, and often visiting the buildings, the schools, or different centers, I felt that I was coming into also even environments that were transmitting a certain amount of beauty and peace that we also, to which we give a lot of importance also in Focolare. If you go to our main centers, maybe not the small ones that are just starting, but there's always an attention given to harmony, because harmony is also an expression of God. And I felt this special environment in many of the Hizmet buildings or centers. If we look at what aspect or Hizmet present Islam to the world, Hizmet present an Islam that is moderate, an Islam that is faithful to the tradition, but also open to, I would say, modernity in the sense of development, evolution of the society. Again, open to interfaith dialogue. These are characteristics that I don't see much in other Muslim movement organizations that I have met, that are much more traditional, conservative, and often close to real dialogue. So to me, Hizmet presents the side of Islam that is the most favorable to build contact and relationship with the other races, other cultures of the world. I see three main contributions. Again, for me, because where I come from, Focolare Movement, the most important one is the interfaith dialogue. I find that Hizmet has very active presence in dialogue, and I would say lots of energy in a way that they seem to be able to have to promote many activities of dialogue. I've seen this in Turkey, I've seen this many times in Toronto. They are very good at promoting getting to know each other between different faiths and cultures and promote the dialogue. The second most important of Hizmet is education, and I think this has been beginning of Hizmet has been through education and looking at building schools and making it possible to many youth and young people to get education when otherwise they were in countries or situations where there was no access to education. And in my mind, education is so important to build a nation that has more people thinking, that a nation that can improve in many ways. When you're educated, you can better improve your life, and also you can better prosper. I think that education is a very, very important element of growth for human beings, for nations, or provinces, I would say here in Toronto, in Ontario, in Canada. If I look at the history of Hizmet bringing through the schools education to people who didn't have access to it, who otherwise would probably remain illiterate, that's a very important action for that support growth and improvement in any culture where those schools are started and are sustained or supported to give education to many people who would not have access. Now, Hizmet also have schools in countries where education is or instruction is available. We can talk about Canada, the States, some European countries, I imagine. And I think that a difference that the Hizmet school may be bringing to these countries is possibly that the values that are also taught in the schools, in addition to the curriculum that is proposed by the country, is probably making in the quality of the students who come out of those schools, in maybe the way they live their life with more integrity, for example. Interfaith education. And the third is the charitable activities that they have all over the world, participating with other international organizations to give relief to people who are suffering of war, natural disasters, or poverty. Being a Christian, I'm very familiar with movement organizations helping people, having charitable activities for people in other countries that are not Christian or that are of different religions. Could be a Buddhist, could be Hindus, could be Muslim, could be other Christians. I'm very happy and not surprised if a Muslim movement would also have an action that is open to all nations, all cultures, all people. For me, the value of these charitable activities and action is when they are done out of and as a sign of the immense universal love of God for people, or the immense universal mercy of God for people. When this is done with that goal, with that quality, it cannot but brings a better world.
Hizmet has been a face for the Muslim community that says we want to participate and we're worthy of your trust.
But I've never seen a movement that truly reaches out to the rest of the world. I think that was one of the things that really struck me, was that the movement itself was not just to benefit those of Turkish descent, but truly wanted to reach out beyond the borders of Turkey, around the world.